There's a fear almost every couple carries into this, and very few say out loud. It isn't the cost. It isn't the guest list. It's a quieter thought, usually somewhere around 11 at night. How do we possibly stay in control of something happening 1,300 miles away in a place we don't know, in a language that isn't ours? I understand that fear completely. I've spent years on this island as a wedding planner, celebrant, and personal guide, walking couples through exactly it. And I want to begin by taking it apart because it's built on something that isn't quite true. The distance is not the problem. I've planned weddings for couples who never set foot on the island until the week of their wedding, and I've watched local weddings 30 minutes from someone's front door fall into chaos. The difference was never the miles. The difference was whether one person on the ground was genuinely holding all the pieces together. So today I want to walk you through what actually makes a Mallorca wedding, planned from the UK, the USA, or anywhere else in the world, feel calm. Not effortless in the glossy sense, calm in the real sense, where you can breathe. The first thing I'd ask you to let go of is the idea that you have to become an expert. Couples arrive thinking they need to learn Mallorca, the venues, the suppliers, the rules, the seasons. You don't. You need someone who already knows it and who is on your side. The moment that's in place, all those variables you were bracing against, the language, the legal side, the location, stop being risks. They just become things that are already handled. You shouldn't have to engineer the solution. That's my job, not yours. When I plan a wedding across borders, I'm really holding three things steady at once. The first is time, how the day naturally unfolds in a Mediterranean climate, often very differently from the wedding timeline couples may be used to at home. The second is the paperwork, the legal side of marrying abroad, which frightens people far more than it needs to. And the third is your guests, because they are traveling too, and their experience is quietly the thing everyone remembers. Let me take you through each one, because this is where the calm actually comes from. Here's a mistake I see constantly. Couples plan the day around a familiar wedding schedule rather than the realities of a Spanish summer. A ceremony at 1, lunch at 2, in 30-degree heat and harsh midday light. Mallorca has its own rhythm, and when you work with it instead of against it, everything softens. The early afternoon is for quiet preparation in the shade. The ceremony sits later as the heat breaks. Then the light turns golden, and anyone who's seen a photograph taken in that hour understands why we wait for it. Dinner comes under the stars, the way the island has always done it. None of that is a rule you need to memorize. It's simply what happens when someone shapes the day around the place, rather than forcing the place to behave like home. Now the paperwork. This is the part that keeps people awake. So let me make it simple. For many international couples, the calmest route is a symbolic ceremony. You take care of the legal formalities quietly at home, and Mallorca becomes the place where the meaningful celebration happens. No pressure on the timeline and complete freedom over where and how you exchange your vows. An olive grove, a courtyard, a cliff top at sunset. And I'll be honest with you about why this matters to me personally. Because I guide the planning and I lead the ceremony, I get to know your story over the months we work together, and then I carry that same story into the words on the day. The ceremony doesn't feel like a stranger reading a script. It feels like the center of everything we've built. For couples who do want a binding legal marriage on the island, that's absolutely possible too. It just needs a careful, ordered process. And that's exactly the kind of thing you should never have to navigate alone from the UK. There's a clear path, we walk it with you. Let me pause here for a moment, because if this is starting to feel a little more possible, I want to ask you something. Of everything about planning a wedding this far from home, What's the one part that still worries you most? Tell me in the comments. The worries that come up again and again are exactly what I make these films about. Your guests. This is the thing I wish more couples thought about earlier, because your wedding isn't only your journey, it's 50, 80, 100 people also flying to an island they may not know, working out transfers, wondering what to pack for the heat. The good news is that Mallorca is well connected to many major European cities, with additional international routes through Palma and mainland Spain. But being easy to reach is not the same as being effortless to attend. Your guests still need to feel expected, to know when to book, where to stay, how they will get from the airport, and what each day will involve. When that's handled well, something lovely happens. Your guests stop managing logistics and simply arrive. They feel looked after, and that feeling, not the flowers, not the table settings, is what they'll still be talking about years later. And then there are the things you can't see in a photograph. Many of the beautiful old fincas have strict limits on outdoor sound late at night. Some coastal venues catch a wind that will undo delicate styling in minutes. None of this shows up on Instagram, and all of it can quietly reshape your evening if nobody's thinking about it in advance. This is what local knowledge actually is. Not a secret list of venues, it's knowing what goes wrong before it does and designing so that it simply never reaches you. So here's where all of this is heading. When the planning is genuinely held, the day itself becomes something you do not have to manage. The legal side is settled, the timing moves with the sun, your guests are cared for, and the distance between home and Mallorca, the thing you were so concerned about at the beginning, quietly stops mattering. You're left with one thing to do on your wedding day. Be present, fully, completely present, with the people you love. That's the whole point of the way I work. Not a bigger wedding, a calmer one that actually belongs to you. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this has been useful, please subscribe, and I'd love it if you stayed with the series. In the next episode of the Mallorca Edit, I go deeper into exactly this, how we take a wedding planned from abroad and make it feel from the very first conversation like it's already in safe hands.